well, Daredevil training didn't go the best, so I guess I'll just read the comic instead. So Daredevil is a character I'm sure you're aware of and perhaps you even love. But my big thing with Daredevil is the fact that I think he should be much more popular. Up until a few months ago, Daredevil was just a character I was aware of. I had seen some episodes of the Netflix show. I had read some of the original comics by Stan Lee and Bill Everett. But overall, I wouldn't consider myself a massive Daredevil fan. But pretty much everybody I knew who was really into comics, or YouTubers I would watch who are comic YouTubers, loved Daredevil, and he's one of their favorite characters. So I was at the bookstore, and I decided to pick this puppy up, Daredevil Born Again by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. And as you saw earlier, it's always a great feeling when you read or watch something that's super hyped up and considered to be the best, and then you watch or read it, and you're like, yeah, I get it. And that kind of put me on this Daredevil trajectory. I went back and started watching the Netflix show again. And then I bought Daredevil Man Without Fear. This is also by Frank Miller, but this time the art is by John Romita Jr. Frank Miller is obviously really well known for some of his Batman work, especially Batman Year One. And this is essentially Daredevil Year One. I didn't like it as much as Born Again, but I still loved it. It was awesome. And I'm starting to think to myself, how is this guy not more popular? I think the hook of the character is very simple. The Daredevil power scaling is a bit all over the place, but due to the nature of him being blind, it really puts him in interesting situations. Even though he's superpowered, he obviously has a big obstacle to overcome that 99% of other heroes don't have to deal with. I mean, literally the meme of the Thanos and like, kick his ass, Daredevil, that's like kind of accurate. He's not the most powerful character. That's why on the thumbnail of this video, I've called him Marvel's Batman. He's a more down-to-earth superhero. Back in 2006, CBR, Comic Book Resources, did a popularity poll of readers, which is really interesting because it's right before 2008 when Iron Man kicked off the MCU. Now, this poll was only for Marvel characters, and the number one spot obviously was Spider-Man. Number two is a little surprising to me, but it was also coming off of the Civil War comic event, so it was Captain America. But third, above everybody else, above Wolverine, above Hulk, above Iron Man, was Daredevil. I mean, he did have his own film adaptation in 2003, and say what you want about that movie, but it's got one of the greatest scenes of all time. But it is crazy to think he used to be that high up in Marvel rankings. Now granted, I would say the poll's a bit skewed because I think in general, Daredevil is more popular with comic readers than he is with the general public. But I think that needs to change. Because not only do I think Daredevil has the ability to be one of Marvel's most popular characters, I've also recently learned that apparently the majority of his comics are good, which is exceptionally rare. So after learning all this, I decided, okay, I want to read some more Daredevil comics. What are some of the best Daredevil comic runs?
Chip Zdarsky, Kevin Miller, and the Centaur, Mark Waid.
He is very unique in the fact that I have never encountered a character where he has this many runs people like. Maybe Batman is the only one that rivals him. I don't think there is a Spider-Man comic run post like 2008 in general people like. Whereas Daredevil, basically twice a decade, he has a run that people say is a masterpiece. Stephanie Phillips and Lee Garbett just started their run on Daredevil. It's only 2 issues in and I really like it. So there's a lot of great source material to pull from for more Daredevil stuff. On top of the fact that not only did he have a 3-season Netflix show people love, he's also got 2 seasons of Born Again with another on the way. If you count that as one show, that's 6 seasons of television in the modern streaming era, which is exceptionally rare for any show, not just superhero television. And this has only served to grow his popularity. You're probably never going to be on the level of Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, Wonder Woman. Those are like the easy big 4. But right underneath that, where like Wolverine is at, Daredevil can be on that level. Big thing Marvel needs to do is what DC's really good at, which is keeping the character relevant. Think about it. Basically every year, there's something Batman that comes out. For example, this year, there's no Batman movie releasing, but we're getting a Clayface movie, which is obviously Batman related. We get the new Lego Batman game. And on top of that, we're supposed to get this animated Nightfall series. DC's also figured out, hey, we shouldn't just do that for Batman, we should also be doing that for Superman. Obviously, the Supergirl movie is Superman adjacent, and Superman's even going to be in it. They also have a new season of My Adventures of Superman coming out. There's constantly something keeping the character in people's minds. Marvel does this really well with Spider-Man. If there's a year where there's no Tom Holland movie or Spider-Verse movie, you better believe they're going to put out an animated show like they did with My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, or a video game like Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac. Marvel's even starting to do this with the X-Men. You got X-Men 97 Season 2 coming out this year, the Wolverine game coming out this fall. Once you're that top level character, you constantly have something coming out that isn't just comic books. And after Spider-Man and X-Men, I think Daredevil should be the next priority. I think Marvel thinks Iron Man is the guy they can continue to push because of the success of the MCU. But I'm going to tell you this right now. There is not enough good Iron Man comics to pull from, nor does the public really care about it. And maybe you could argue I'm being too mean. Maybe the general public knows a little bit more about Iron Man than I think, but I genuinely think if you ask the general public things about about Daredevil and things about Iron Man, it would be relatively close in what they know. Which is absurd when Iron Man was the main character in the most successful film franchise of all time. So how does Marvel capitalize on this? One, we gotta get a Daredevil video game going. It would be badass, it would be sweet, we gotta get it done. I know they have Insomniac working on the next Spider-Man game. Maybe it's a Venom game, who knows? Obviously, they just wrapped up Wolverine, but call somebody up, get a Daredevil game made. Second thing, Daredevil animated show. I really don't know why it hasn't been done already. You do it in the style of X-Men 97. I mean, he already cameoed in the finale, and he looks sweet. You cannot tell me if you made an animated Daredevil series and put it on Disney+, people wouldn't watch it. You don't have to make it for children, but make it appropriate enough that kids could watch it. Kind of like in the style of Batman the Animated Series. Because that's the big thing people always say to me. Well, Daredevil's too dark for kids. Batman is absurdly popular with children. And you could argue, well, Batman has some goofier adaptations than Daredevil does. And that's true. But Batman the Animated Series was exceptionally popular with kids, and I wouldn't exactly say it's goofy fun time. If you do a Daredevil show in the style of X-Men 97, and you make it kid appropriate, not for children, but appropriate enough kids could watch it, I'm sure adults, teenagers, kids, everybody would be tuned in for that. Because let's face it, kids aren't watching Daredevil Born Again, which they probably shouldn't be. But this animated series could bring everybody together. And now you've got Born Again Season 3 coming out, this animated series, a video game. Now you're on that top level of Marvel characters of popularity. I mean, just look at the way people reacted when he got added to Marvel Rivals. Daredevil has a lot of motion. I don't think Marvel realizes how popular Daredevil can be. I mean, I remember when I went to see No Way Home, people went bananas at him just catching a brick. It wasn't even in costume. It was just Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. I also think right now is kind of the time to strike, especially because it seems like the MCU is going to reboot after Secret Wars. Why not make Daredevil one of the main players in that? Why not give him a big movie for the first time since 2003? Wrap up everything with Charlie Cox and that crew in Daredevil Born Again Season 3. And then in this new MCU, bring Daredevil in full force. I don't know if you recast or what you do. I mean, that's for them to figure out. I'm fine with whatever. But give him a big movie. Give him a big spotlight to shine. Present him as a big deal. Especially if you're coming off of Born Again Season 3 a few years prior to this movie, a video game coming out around that time, and an animated series, it would be seen as a really big deal. And there's only one way to grow these characters, and it's to invest in them to have people then buy in. Harley Quinn is a character in the last 15 years, it's really grown for DC, because after she started doing well in the comics, they then pushed her in the movies and TV shows, which then also grew her fame. But that's it from me. Hopefully the point of this video made sense. I just really been enjoying some Daredevil stuff lately, and I felt like I had to get this take out there because I do think he's one of Marvel's big dogs. But that's it from me. If you read any of the stuff I recommended in here, hopefully you like it. But keep in mind, I haven't read the majority of stuff I talked about. I'm just saying, people love all this Daredevil stuff, and I'm just starting to get in. As far as stuff I've actually read, I would recommend. I would say this doesn't really make sense as a starting point. Like, you kind of have to have a vague understanding of what's going on with Daredevil. But I thought it was awesome. If you watch the Netflix show or you watch Born Again, you could read this and understand it. And this was top dog shit. This was incredible. But Marvel is my recommendation to you. If any of you guys hear from me, I don't need a thank you. I just want that Daredevil video game and an animated series. And if you could think about the movie, that'd be great. So, all right. Thank you.